Hey everyone, how you doing? It's your girl Tally coming back with another relationship video for all those out here who have an ear to listen. So I was just thinking about this and I was just so inclined to make a video because this is just an experience that I had this past week. So to give you all some background information, and I'm sorry I do sound a little stuffed up. I am a little sick, but thankfully I do not have COVID. I did get tested and the test was negative, but I am a little sick, so bear with me, you guys. But I just had to come on here and share this experience with women out there and even men out there who would who want to listen. So what happened is last week my apartment building was doing some fumigating. So for about 3 days we had to find somewhere else to stay. And for me, I went to my brother's house for 3 days and I hung out over there and it was nice and I had fun or whatever. But one thing about when me and my brother get together is we are going to have a conversation about relationships. I don't know where this come from, but this is our thing and I feel like it helps us out. And because my father, he has other children, but me and my brother, we grew up together. It was just only me and him. So he only knows to have a sister, really, and I only know to have a brother. So it's just very interesting to hear different things from each other's perspective. Him being a man, me being a woman, and I feel like we open each other's eyes to different aspects of what it means to be a man for him and for me to be a woman, and just things in this world, things that are discussed. And we just love just talking about those relationship things, me and my brother. So on the last day, of course this started on the first day, but on the last day, when I was packing my stuff up to go home, we started to discuss in a story about me and one of our friends that we knew for a long time. It's a young lady that it's been a family friend. And when I say family friend, I mean me and my brother's friend. We both know her, both love her, dearly for a long time. And then so we were discussing her because she recently broke up with her boyfriend, which is also the father of her children. And she broke it off completely, got a new place to stay, everything. And I was just like, when I heard that, I was like, thank God, because me seeing that relationship over the years, I just knew it wasn't right for her. I knew it was just sucking a lot of energy out of her, and I knew that she was underappreciated, okay? And that's exactly what I felt about the relationship, and she never even had to speak to me about that for me to understand how serious it was for her. My brother also saw different aspects of the relationship. Like, she talked to him about different things, and he kind of knew what was going on too. And my take on it was like, I'm happy she got out of that situation, because if you see for years the relationship is not changing, it's staying the same, you're being underappreciated for years. I believe, as a woman, me wanting to see everyone being empowered and knowing who she is and loving herself and coming up in this world and doing well for herself, me wanting to see that, I was overjoyed to find out that she finally made the decision and was brave enough and strong enough to depart from that situation. All right. And I know somewhere in the lines my brother feels the same way too, but of course my brother is a man, he's a male, so there's always a different perspective that they see on the relationship. So my brother's perspective, and I hope one day me and my brother could do a video together just discussing a topic, because even when me and him were going back and forth about this, I was like, I wish I had my camera, because if you see me and my brother going back and forth about this conversation, and his friend was also present and they were both kind of going against me, it would have went viral, because that's how juicy that conversation is. And it's just full of like people's perspective, and it's just great conversation, great rhetoric, great narrative, great everything, just to open people's eyes. So like as I was saying, naturally my brother's perspective about that was, it wasn't it was basically somewhere surrounding the fact that our friend, which is the woman, she knew what she was getting into, that was the bottom line for him. He's like, she knew what she was getting into. She was dating a guy who was kind of like a street guy, you know, he was a trapper, you know, like a hood guy. So she knows what that life entails. And in that life, you know, you're gone for long hours of the day, you're gone pretty much all the time, and just in that lifestyle, that's what you're supposed to expect. And the other friend who also knows this girl too, because we kind of grew, we stayed in the same neighborhood for a long time, so we know each other. Okay, he was like, because our friend, she was in this relationship with this guy. She was in a relationship with this guy for nearly a decade, but they didn't have children into a few years. And when I say a few years, I mean like 3-4 years into the relationship. Excuse me. And he was like, she saw he was like, which is the friend, me and my brother's friend, who was also present at the time of this conversation. He was like, I hope I'm not confusing you. He was like she saw his lifestyle 3-4 years in the relationship. She should have known. She didn't end up having children until 3-4 years into the relationship. So she had time to come out of the relationship if it wasn't right for her. And that was their perspective. And that was my brother's perspective, and that was his friend's perspective as well. And that's what it was just me against them two. And my brother was like, listen, she knew that the lifestyle he lived, blah blah blah. He knew the lifestyle, he's a trapper, this is what trappers do, him being gone for long hours, this and that. If she enjoying the money when it comes, she gotta, you know, deal with what that lifestyle comes with. And I'm sitting there trying to argue that it does not matter. Like, men understand that there's gonna be a time that women are gonna expect more out of them. Like, everything that she went through, you can't just all blame it on her, because you know, like, there's children involved in the situation, and where are you as a father? You have to support your family, and that's not only with money. Money doesn't make up for the time spent where you're there emotionally and mentally, spiritually, being that fence and protecting your family. For me, it doesn't matter if the rent's getting paid. It doesn't matter what's getting paid. It's not gonna make up for all the fallout you experience when that person is not acting like the partner that you expected that person to be for you in a relationship. And clearly, being a partner in a relationship is not only about the money that's being brought in. There was so many other factors that I witnessed that I'm going to tell you guys about, that I just felt like him bringing in the money did not make up for that. Okay? But eventually, that was the bottom line. So it's just me arguing against two guys, you know, and they're laying down, you know, the law. If you know me, you know that I can really argue a point. And it got to the point we was arguing for like an hour and a half. But the bottom line, when I was tired and done, I could not, you know, argue no more. The bottom line, as we left it, was that hey, she knew what she got into. That's what it, and we had to leave it at. She knew what she got into. She knew that dude was a trapper when she first met him, so she knew what it was. And I had to leave it at that. And that just, at that point, I was like reconsidering everything I felt about, you know, relationships and morality and a man's role in a relationship. Because I'm like, if that's gonna be the bottom line for every woman, to me it's like we're blaming everything on the woman. Like, I know that there is room to there is room to be like, yes, a woman needs to understand what she's getting herself into. And that is 100% correct. That's 100% correct. Yes, women need to see the guy. Sorry. Women need to see the guy for who he is at first and understand what you get yourself into and make the decision if that's what you want to get yourself into. Absolutely 100%. We do need to think more about that, and we do need to take the responsibility for missing those key signs in the beginning. Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, with the children being involved, for you guys being involved for an entire decade, is the bottom line really gonna be, oh, but the woman should have known? I just couldn't fathom, and it was just like bothering me so much. Like, is that what we're gonna make the bottom line to this? Is that what it is for real? And then a bright light at the end of the tunnel came in. And this bright light, I don't know why my nose is itching. Every time I get on camera, my nose starts itching, actually. So I don't know what that's about. But listen, a bright light came in at the end of the tunnel. And this is what the bright light was. So, like I said, it was my brother. And it was his friend. All right? And his friend is actually my friend, too. Like, we know each other, okay? So my brother and his friend. And my brother's friend's brother calls him. So we just know each other as a family. So my brother's friend who was arguing back and forth with me, his brother calls on FaceTime. My brother FaceTimes his brother. So he's on the FaceTime and, you know, talking. And then for some reason, the same conversation gets brought up. And I'm talking to him, and I'm telling him, and I just start telling him the details of everything. So this what it was for me. When I used to go over my friend's house, and I'm gonna tell you what it is. When I used to go over my friend's house, this is what I would witness going on. And so she used to do hair, okay? So I used to be witnessing her. Not only is she doing someone's hair, she has other clients in the house waiting for their hair to be done. She has also 2 children in the house at the same time. And you know how children are. If you've been around children, you know how children are. They running back and forth to the house. Mommy, I'm hungry. Da, 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 da. Just making a mess. Okay? Children running through the house. So she's doing hair. People waiting for her for the hair to get done. Children running through the house. And not only on top of that, every moment there's a knock at the door. Because her boyfriend sells weed. Okay? He sells weed. All right? So every moment, every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, he has someone knocking at the door. Because he's not home, by the way. He's not home during all this. He is out all day, every day. So he leaves in the morning and he comes back in the morning. You understand that? That's how long hours he's gone away from his house. So every 15 minutes, 30 minutes, we got somebody knocking at the door. Someone wants to buy some weed. And I'm like, what is this? First of all, this is a whole operation that she has going on here. As I see it, that is 3 jobs you're working. I say it's 5 jobs, okay, in one. But my friend is working 3 jobs. She's doing hair with other people waiting for their hair to be done. She has kids, and kids are a full-time job, okay? Anybody who says differently doesn't know. Okay, kids are a full-time job, and I'm not talking about no 40 hours a week. I'm talking about 24 hours a day, 7 days a week type of job. So that's what I'm saying. That's like 2 jobs in one. All right, and then she has people knocking at the door, which she has to, they have to come into her house. They have to tell them how much she wants, and then they're negotiating prices. She has to scale out the weed. She got to take the money, all of this. And this is for her boyfriend's business. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like your child's father is leaving you in this house day in and day out. So this is not just 1 day, 2 days, a couple of weeks he's doing this. This has been going on inside her house for years, day in and day out. She is doing these 3 jobs at one time in her house. Okay? And he is gone. He is almost never there for her. And I'm like, are we really going to blame her? Is it really the bottom line? Is the bottom line is really she should have known? Because there is no way of, and I couldn't have did that job. Okay, and I'm looking at these guys. You know, a man is not gonna do that job. Not to say that there's some men out there who can't do that job, but you know, men are not gonna do that job. Okay, so when you think of everything she went through for years, that she had to finally be like, I gotta pick up and I gotta leave because this can't be my life. Is the bottom line after everything that she sacrificed is gonna be she should have known better. And I just couldn't let that stand. Okay, but for the time being, I had to let it stand because, you know, 2 against 1, I had to let them have it. But this is what my friend was going through. Our friend. So, like I said, the guy's brother, who was arguing back and forth with me, with my brother, called on FaceTime. And I explained to him the situation, just as I explained to it before. And he was like, no, we can't put the blame on. Ooh, I said her name. I gotta block it out. We can't put the blame on her. We cannot put the blame on her. This is not all her fault. Nah, if anything, he's capping, because this guy, he actually added an even more perspective. He bust that thing wide open. He said he used to see her child's father at the house that he used to always be at. And he was like, wow, this guy really is over here a little bit too much. That's what he used to say. And then what my brother said is the guy's house he used to be at he used to give him a lot of business. Like, he used to buy a lot off of him. So it was good reason for him to be there all the time like that. But what the brother said was, no, it wasn't. He said he was not buying that much off of him, to the point that that guy is never home with his family and always at that guy's house. Busted the case wide open. Busted the case wide open. Everything that I could not argue, all the info that I was missing, there it goes, presented right in front of me. There was no reason for him to be leaving his family like that, day in and day out. Because, okay, under the pretense that, oh, I'm making all this money, I'm making so much money, oh, I'm paying this, I'm paying that. There was no reason. So we pried into it a little bit more, and then yes, the brother was like, no, like he's kind of capping for leaving his family like that. And the thing about it, he said a lot, and he like brought a lot of wisdom into the conversation. And this is the purpose of my video today. It's 2 things that it brought me to. Two ideas that it brought me to when the brother spoke his piece and added wisdom to the conversation. Number 1, we need men who are willing to stand up and take responsibility for their actions. We need men who are willing to stand up and tell other men that they need to take responsibility for their actions, because that's what it did. When the brother said what he said, and he was like, no, there was no reason for him to be doing that. He needed to be with his family more. Like, he was not do that. Like, there was no reason for him to be treating his family like that. The whole room got quiet. Like, no one had nothing else to say. The other guys who were arguing me down, they had nothing to say. And again, me being the type of person I am, I could have easily just been like, oh, ha, 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 I told you so. When I tell you, there was no need for me to even do that, because the truth that was brought to the conversation, it had the whole room dead quiet. It had the whole room quiet, to the point that even my brother, when we started talking about it a little bit more, my brother was like, okay, yeah, that guy was capping. He had to even admit that. You hear me? Do you hear me? So that number 1, we need men to stand up and speak to other men. to teach other men, to show other men that they should and they need to take responsibility for their actions. Because just from the brother speaking his piece about the situation, and he listened to their side and he listened to my side before he even said anything. So he stood up, he spoke his piece through FaceTime. He had the whole room quiet. No one could argue with it. And he said the bottom line could never be she needed to understand who she was with. The bottom line is the children. Okay? Listen, look at that. That's a man. He said the bottom line is the children in that situation. So if you're leaving your children like that, there's a problem. And like I said, the home was quiet. There is no need for me to even go back and be like, haha, I told you so. No, he said what he said. Okay? So number one, we need men to stand up and tell the truth. That's number one. Number two, it matters. It goes right back to what the boys was arguing about me before. What they were arguing before. It matters what kind of mindset us women choose in a man. The mindset of our men matters, because this could mean the difference between a man taking responsibility for what goes on in a relationship and just blaming you for everything that goes on in a relationship. Okay? And and I was thinking, I was like, the the brother who called and said his piece and shut the whole conversation down, he is not a guy. Wow. He is not a guy that I would say that in a room full of very handsome men, that he would be the first round draft pick. Okay, I'm not saying that. He's not ugly. He's not ugly by any means. Okay, and his mindset that he has, his personality, not only his personality but his character, it makes him even more attractive. But what I'm saying is, in a room full of tall, handsome men, he is not the first round draft pick. If anything, my brother, in the room, a woman would choose my brother before she chose this guy with this mindset who shut down the room. So I'm thinking, it was like, us women, we need to be careful of the mindset that we choose in a guy, because though a woman would probably choose, my brother and his friend and his brother, the other guy's brother before him, because they're a little bit taller. Okay? This is the kind of dude you're choosing. You're choosing a dude that has not yet developed, the responsibility in himself as a man to say, yo, as a man, I need to take responsibility over my choices. I need to hold my family down. I need to be there for my family. And I should never let money get in the way of me being there for my family. Okay? Like, even the brother who called and shut it down, he was like, the woman's job is harder. And this is what they didn't want to hear. Like, it was really my brother who didn't want to hear that. But he got his mind right after we said, come on, the children, that's a job all in itself. That's a full-time job with unlimited hours. He got his mind right after his friend put that in perspective for him. But he was at a point, he was trying to compare his one job where he had to multitask on that job to all those jobs I described to you about the girl having to do hair, kids, people knocking at the door. He tried to describe that. We had to blow that out of the water. Like, that does not even compare. Okay? So, you would choose these guys for their looks or their height first, not knowing that they kind of have a mindset where they haven't developed in themselves to take a responsibility, as a man for the family that they created. And this is what the brother was telling them about. He was even saying, I was trying to tell them the same thing that too, but as a man, that once you have kids with a woman, there's different responsibilities and different expectations that your partner is going to have for you in a relationship. Okay, and he even brought that idea up. So like I was saying, we would have chose, as a woman, we would be more pros to choosing the guy we deem more handsome or taller. Okay, and we would overlook the guy who has the mindset that we want in a man. The mindset that we want, that says that he's gonna take responsibility for his family, his kids. Okay, he's not gonna blame everything on his woman, you know? And it was just such a glorious moment for me. I don't know if you guys understand how glorious it is, because I was done. I was argued down. I was shut up. I was finished with the conversation. And then this white light came in, and it happened to come in the form of another man who has a history of being a responsible man who takes responsibility for himself. Okay, so this guy, the brother who shut it down, he's a guy who has kept the job, who's been responsible with his finances, his money, who's trying to make something out of himself. He has a lot of potential, but again, like I said, he's not a first round draft pick. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just a little shorter and stocky. But like I'm saying, he's far from ugly, not ugly at all. Okay, he's a handsome man, especially when he get that beard cut up and everything. Boy, he looking good. All right, so but I'm just saying, like, women, we have things like, oh, 6 foot, 6-pack, you know what I'm saying, like stuff like that. And he doesn't have that. He's not 6 foot. He's probably like 5'8", 5'9". All right, and he doesn't have a 6-pack. But look at that mindset. Is that a man that's gonna leave you high and dry? Is that a man who's gonna leave you in the house all day with the kids that you made with him, and just leave you in the house all day to struggle all day in and day out for years? No, he's not. He's not the type of man. He's the type of man who's gonna be there to help you out. Yeah, he's gonna go out and make the money, but in his free time, he's gonna be there for his family. And that's what all of us women are looking for. But for some reason, we let other things take priority over that mindset. So those are two things I learned from the conversation. Number one, we need men to speak up and tell the truth. And number two, us women, we need to be very careful in the minds, and very careful and we need to pay attention to the mindset of the man that you choose to lay down with, to marry, to have a family with. Because what do you want? Do you want the man who at the end of the day, if things go wrong, everything's gonna be your fault? Okay, and you should have known this and you should have known that? Or do you want a man who from the very beginning knows that he needs to take responsibility for the family that he creates? So you don't even have to get to that point of he's so hard towards you, he's not hearing nothing that you're saying because he doesn't really care. It's the choice is yours. The choice is yours. Us women, we really need to do better with how we choose it. Looks is not everything. Money is not everything. How was money everything for my friend? My friend had to pick up and leave. Yeah, my brother alluded to the fact that this guy was paying all the bills. But to me, that when I went into the house and seen how the family was living, that meant nothing to me at that point. If that's the case, let me pay my own bills. I'm a single woman right now. I pay my own bills. Let me pay my own bills, because there's no way that paying the bills is gonna be more valuable than my mental, emotional, spiritual protection that I feel like my partner is supposed to give me, and I'm supposed to give my partner. So that's just a thought for us women to just think about. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. But thank you for listening. I should be back with more videos soon. Bye.